Good afternoon, students, and welcome to the next geography class. I will be continuing with the transport chapter. A small portion of the chapter I taught in the previous class, that was about roadways. And a brief recap of what I told you about transport and communication. Transport in any country is very important as a circulatory system in the human body. If we will not have arteries and veins to transport the blood to the different parts of our body, our growth, our development will be severely hampered. Likewise, if transport system is not developed in a country, the country's growth and development cannot take place. Now, you are studying this chapter under these headings. Land transport includes roadways and railways. And roadways, I have already taught you. One or two terms I would like to mention under roadways which I may have left out. That is density of roads. Density of roads, please remember, like density of population, is ratio between or ratio of total length of roads. Total length of roads to the total land area in a country. That is how we measure or take note of the number of roads within a country. So this is one term I had left out. Please note the definition. And for your general knowledge, let me tell you, India is the second largest or has the second highest density of roads in the world. That means really large number of roads. Okay, now we come to the second means of transport on land, and that is railways. Now, what all things you are supposed to know about railways? Roadways, remember, you are doing advantages and disadvantages and features of the different types of roads. Please learn which type of road links state capitals to the ports, to the harbors, village areas to the city areas, district areas to the other advanced areas. Like that you are supposed to divide and learn. So only this much I wanted to recap. We move over to railways. Now, railways in India are known as the lifeline of our country. Please note this word, it's very, very important. They are known as the lifeline. They may use other words in the question. The basic idea is because of this our country has come or developed very greatly. Why it is called the lifeline, you should know the reasons, and for that please note down the points. The same reasons you will mention if you are asked why railways are very important in India. The first reason is around 18 million passengers are transported every day. This is on an everyday basis by the railways. In the same point, you will mention 2 million tons of freight. You should know this term. The word freight meaning goods or commodities. Any type of materials here that is being transported in large amount, bulk. Okay, so this is 2 million tons. Now this data you may remember because it adds weight to your answers. Right? So 18 million passengers and 2 million tons of freight every day the railways are transporting from one part to another part of the country. Second reason why the railways are very important, they transport a variety of products, transport a variety of goods, and you will mention in brackets agricultural as well as industrial goods. Clear? Agriculture, raw material will be brought from the cultivation areas to the marketing centers. In case of industries, raw materials are brought to the factories. From the factories, they are again transported to the marketing centers. So a big job the railways are doing over here. Is that clear? Then the third point which you will mention, it promotes unity among people. Unity among people. I am writing very short points. Please remember, you must mention in this point that India is a country of a wide variety of religions, cultures, creeds. All the varieties are brought together. When people interact, they understand each other and there comes unity between them. Okay? So to this point you will add on the term promotes national integration. This is very, very vital. Roads also help, but we give the credit to the railway lines because bigger number of people are being taken from one place to another. And because of this reason, the second point, it promotes growth and development. Growth and development, I'm writing the short form, of the country. Promotes the growth and development of the country. So these four reasons, please remember. If you are asked why the railways are called the lifeline of India, you're writing these points. If you're asked why railways are very important for India, or I'll give you one example from the back of the book. There is a reasoning question at the back on page 252. Railways bind the economic and cultural life of the country. Justify this statement. Clear? Justifying this statement, you have got 4 points. So you can mention all the 4 points, you can condense it to any 2 points also. That's how you will mention your answer. So it's a very simple question, but most of the students do not get marks because they are not able to frame the answer. So this is very important. Okay, now we come to the other feature about railway lines. With regard to railway lines, there are 3 types of rails. 3 types. You have to get used to these terms. They are known as broad gauge, meter gauge, and third is narrow gauge railway lines. Now, everyone has travelled on a rail or a train sometime or the other, and if you have seen the wheels of the train, they move on tracks. Now the distance between the two tracks, according to the distance, they are classified into these 3 categories. Broad gauge meaning the distance between the tracks is more than 1 meter, and the exact figure is 1.67 meters distance, this distance between one track and the other on which the wheels run. That means most of the trains you see, whether it's Rajdhani or Shatabdi or big trains like that, they have the normal size, the coaches, because they are moving on 1.67 meters of distance rails. Meter gauge means the distance between these 2 rails is only 1 meter. So the size of the train becomes smaller. Size meaning the size of the coaches in which the passengers sit. Clear? The smallest trains, we also call them toy trains. And in this case, the distance between the 2 rails is less than 1 meter. Clear? It is 0. We take the figure as 7 meters. This is a round figure which I am giving you. Less than 1 meter. You must have heard about the toy train in Darjeeling. We have toy trains in the Shimla Kalka route, and we also have toy trains in South India. Wherever there is a hill station, we have a toy train. It is a very big tourist attraction. Okay, and in South India we have the Blue Mountain Express. I would request you to note down some names. You can write 2 examples here. Rajdhani you can write down for broad gauge. The Rajdhani and the Shatabdi trains. These are the names of the trains. Any other train which you know you can mention, because they do ask examples. Okay, meter gauge, you will write the example which I am giving you. Mathura Junction, Mathura to Vrindavan. This is one example of meter gauge. These are not given in the book, the examples. And the third, toy train, what I told you, Kalka Shimla Express, okay. Then you have the Blue Mountain Express. And the Darjeeling one also you can write down. Whichever one you can remember, at least 2 examples you should be knowing in each. Darjeeling Express. In this category, in the 1 meter category, this is one example. The second example, write down Konkan Kanya train. So two examples I have given you. This is how they ask. They will ask you what are the different types of trains or rails, and these are the 3 names you should be knowing with the distance between the rails which I have given you. 1.67 meters, 1 meter, and this is 0.7 meters. This figure is here with two examples. So under railways, this is one thing you should remember. We move on to the next about railways. Next point.